Alright, this is going to be a really quick tutorial on how to create this grunge style text effect, dripping text effect. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll clear what we have here so we can start from scratch. And we'll zoom out so we can see our whole canvas. So the first thing we need to do is add a white background in. So we'll create an empty pixel layer and make sure that our foreground color is white. We'll take the flood selection tool and go ahead and fill that. And next we need to create our text. So we'll come over here to the artistic text tool and we'll drag out a box here and we'll type in the word grunge. And I'm just going to kind of size this up a little bit so we can get a better view of what we're doing here. And I'm using this text called Brigands Expanded. This works really well with like a chunky style text. So with our text layer selected, the first thing we're going to do is come down here to our live filters and apply a Gaussian blur. We'll bring this up to about 10 pixels or so. And the reason why we're doing this is we kind of want to degrade the edges a little bit, make it look a little bit more organic. So the next thing we're going to do is do a adjustment layer, and we'll add a levels adjustment in there. And by bringing up the black levels, we'll thicken up the letters, get rid of some of that blur, and by bringing down the white layer, it will erode it some more. So now we're definitely getting an organic look to it. If we go too far, if we go past where the black levels are set, we'll actually flip the colors around. So you want to be just to the right of the black level. And that looks good right about there. So now we need to distress our text a little bit more. So let's go back and select our text layer again. And we'll come back over to the live filters. And let's add some noise to this. And add some noise. We want to make sure that our noise is set to Gaussian and monochromatic. And we just want to increase the intensity until we kind of erode those edges a little bit, make them look a little rough. Right about there. That looks good. Alright, next thing we want to do is go back to our text layer, and we want to kind of eat into these letters a little bit. Again, rough them up a little bit more. So with our text layer selected, let's add in a layer mask, and then come over to our paintbrush, and we want to make sure we're painting with black as we're painting on the mask, as that will remove. And let's raise the size of our brush a little bit here. And let's see what brush we are using here. I'm just going to use like a round brush. Okay, and let's change our hardness to 0. Leave our flow at 100 and our opacity to right around maybe 30%. So let's increase the size of our brush. Actually, we're going to need a bigger brush than that, I guess. And once again, we're going to decrease the hardness and to 0 and the opacity to 30. And then we're just going to start eating away at our text a little bit. And what we want to do is kind of create a roughness, especially in the bottom, so we can add in our dripping effect. And this is completely up to you on how far you want to take the erosion. But for the sake of the tutorial, let's keep it pretty short here. Okay, so there we go. Clean that up just a little bit. Alright, so now let's select the text layer again, and above that we're going to add in another blank pixel layer. And now with our brush we can paint in our drips. So we're just going to come down here and Paint our drips coming down. You can get as creative as you want. Again, for the sake of the tutorial, we're not going to spend too much time on that. Okay, that looks pretty good right there. Okay, so let's go ahead and select our pixel layer and our text layer. And let's go ahead and group those. Okay, and to that group, we're going to add in some layer effects. So the first thing we're going to do is add in a color overlay. And let's start off with a red. And let's set the blending mode to screen. And bring down the opacity just a little bit there. And then we'll add in a second color overlay. And this one we'll go ahead and make it yellow. And we will go with screen on that as well. And then we're going to play with the opacity on that one so we get a little bit of overlap between the two. And this is again to taste. All right, so we've got that. Come back to the yellow one, see if we can get it a little bit. There we go. So I've got a little separation between the red and the yellow. And then finally we're going to go ahead and add in an outer shadow. And this is completely up to you on how far you take this. And so the higher we bring the opacity, the sharper our shadow will be. And then with our offset, actually let's put this back on normal. And there you go. There's some grungy text. Hope you liked it.